Aren't we creating these people the way they are?
Okay, yeah, so we're getting into advanced conversations.
Very.
And,
yes.
So for me, there's useful techniques for the individual to take on board to help unlayer the ego. So a useful technique for me to unlayer my ego is not to ascribe blame or resentment or unforgiveness towards any individual. Otherwise, then it persists. The pattern within myself persists. The ego persists because it holds on to that positionality or judgment. So now, so in terms of what was being shared, just to see, like if someone is rude to me, and I just say, well, they're doing the best they can, and they were just being who they are. They couldn't be any better than they were in that moment that they were rude to me. I perceive that as this being all that they could be in that moment, and I hold no judgment towards them. That is a very helpful attitude to take, rather than to say they should know better, or they should be more advanced, or they should have chosen differently in that moment. Okay, now, so for me that's just a very, very helpful way to look at the world, so I can get quick acceptance and not hold on to judgment or resentment or grievance. Now, yes, it's a very good point. But however, for me, on another level, you could say that we're all in unity. So there is influence of every individual on another individual. And one could also say there's even a higher spiritual order to everything in how things occur. So that would then be yes, the belief systems, like everything is under, in fact, the unity of creation is unfolding perfectly, balancing out everything that needs to be balanced for every single individual expressing at every moment. So everyone is like all my beliefs are like little magnets, sort of bringing circumstances that I need to be healed, and everyone else is bringing in, and it's like through through the great unfoldment of creation, everything matches up perfectly. So, like for example, I mentioned this before. Like I'm helping someone. I'm helping someone spiritually as kind of like a sponsor or mentor, and she happened to live with someone who irritated her. And as she did the prayers for forgiveness and forgave this person, as soon as he was forgiven, it's like the universe then took her out of that into a new home. A new offer came in as soon as she forgave him, and that situation wasn't there. So it's like everything is just perfectly unfolding perfectly, and there's an infinite level of people and choices, so everything can be absolutely correct. So I'll just meet. If I have to go out in the street, and I have to have a spiritual lesson, it'll just happen. There'll be someone who'll need the opposite side of what I have, and it'll just be correct for that. So I think that will, I haven't got a good memory today. So did that answer the question, or was
Yes. Very much so.
It was a great question. Yeah, it was a great one. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to say a few points on that. The thing of like Hawkins said about Mother Teresa, she'd much rather go on a protest for peace than for one against war. And also from Hawkins' research with the levels of consciousness, anything below, he's developed a map through muscle testing from 1,000 to 0. Anything below 200 on his map is within the realms of ego, like pride, fear, guilt, shame, apathy are all the lower levels, the emotional levels. Above 200 we have things like courage, acceptance, peace and love. And from his research, I'll try and recollect it from head, but someone like at 600, someone who becomes enlightened and releases their ego, is counterbalancing approximately 10 million individuals below the level of 200. So the negativity. So anyone who reaches very, very high levels of spiritual consciousness, and it's not by the ego thinks it's like by actions, by taking action in the world, you're doing a lot of good. But just by doing inner spiritual work and increasing your spiritual vibration, just that energy is like, if you could almost say, like filtering out and helping to counterbalance a lot of negativity in the world. Also, I remember once Muji saying that a lot of people, I think his expression was, a lot of people are living on the oxygen of people who are at high levels of spirituality. Also, you know, one of the first things I learned in my spiritual journey a very long time ago was TM meditation. And from TM meditation, they had done this research, which was very, very profound, which is that something like if 2% of the individuals in a town or village meditate, they found that the crime rate dropped, I forgot exact statistics, 20%. So all of the research, I mean, Hawkins' research also is in correlation with that. So imagine having an enlightened person, how much negativity and crime and depression, having an enlightened person in your room, is that going to stop from the surrounding population? So for me, like, and that's my personal view as well, rather than go out and try and change the world and try and tell people they need to behave differently so that the world can be a better place. For me personally, I mean, it's everyone's individual choice, but I'd rather let go of my resentments and my anger at everyone and everything in the world and let my consciousness go to a higher level within. So just that. And also, I go to these 12-step rooms, 12-step fellowships, which release addictions. And one of the things they say, like they have meetings like for recovering alcoholics, and they say to these alcoholics, you know, people could be from the street, people who are homeless and are just really, really drunk on alcohol, just keep coming back to the meetings, they say to them. And for me, the meaning behind that is these people are in no state to understand what is being said in the meetings, but they're just told, keep coming back, because for me, the energy of all those people, the love in the things, eventually, miraculously, they suddenly they start to become sober. They start to understand what's being happening in those meetings. Then eventually they get a mentor. So for me, that's not, you know, getting drunks into spiritual meetings. It's not the verbal. It's not the verbal level of people, what they've shared in that meeting. It's the overwhelming power of the energy. If you keep going into them, eventually they clear up, eventually they can hear things and they progress. So for me, it's less about, there's the great power, which is so many indications from so much different types of research, kinesiology or TM, of letting go of those thoughts or those egos. You know, if I really want to help the world for myself, I want to let go of my ego as much as possible, rather than not do the spiritual work and try and tell everybody else that they're wrong or they need to change, and if they change, the whole world will be better if they change their behaviour. Rather, you know, I try and forgive them because I think then I'm helping the world in a different way, just by going to a higher level of consciousness. Okay, so...
It's just, you know, talking about a small number of people, their spirituality is offsetting the 80% of people at the low level of spirituality.
Yes.
There's I don't know if you've heard of these things called street pastors. They're people who just go out on the streets and they pray for the area. And what it shows statistically throughout the country is the crime rate goes down when they pray there.
Yes.
And where I live in Ealing, what's the head of the police for Ealing, whole of Ealing, is it commissioner or whatever you call him? He read those statistics. He's not a spiritual man, but he just read, he's a logical man, and he says, I want these street pastors here in Ealing, and he's going to pay for the training for so many street pastors, either 8 or 12 street pastors. He's paying for the training for it, even though he's not a spiritual man. Because he just read the statistics, and he said he wants that in Ealing, the crime rate to go down. So.
Wow.
Yes, it's a very good thing. Of course, the effectiveness of the street pastor will depend on the level at which they pray, their own level of consciousness. So when you get someone who's doing something from their own heart or with great spiritual commitment and is going around the area praying, his own level of calibration, spiritual vibration, his tuning in to love and the sending of love in the environment will be at a higher level. So if you paint people, often their level of spiritual intention might drop. Because if I paint someone, look, I'm going to give you £100, just go out on the street now and just say this prayer. You know, they're probably thinking about what they're going to buy for dinner with the £100 rather than. So they still will. I think it would still have a positive impact just by doing the prayers. But someone who's done a lot of spiritual work and is doing it from the heart, who does it, you'll find a greater effect in the local area. But I think it's a great thing. It also reminds me of, and I think it's become common knowledge now, like classical music. That classical music, if you just play classical music in the background, all kinds of negative, you know, there was this stuff with students. If they studied for their universities and played classical music in the background, they could think better and more, have better grades.